Naomi and Kaylin walking slowly through the castle gardens. No particular destination. The air is cool and the space around them is open in a way the study was not. She had needed the outside. She had learned a long time ago that some conversations could not happen in closed rooms. They walk in silence for a little while. It is not uncomfortable. She had been building to a question since the moment she left the study, and she was going to ask it, and she was going to let herself ask it directly, because they were past the point where anything less than direct was going to serve either of them.
I always did love it out here. I need you to tell me why you were distant, the reason underneath it all, what you were actually afraid of. Because I spent 5 years trying to understand what I did wrong, and I would like to know what actually happened.
Kalen walks a few more steps. Then he stops. She stops with him. He had been deciding how he would answer it without it being a performance, and he had not found the version he wanted yet. So he was going to just say and trust that the truth was enough.
Three things. And I am going to say all of them because you asked and you deserve all of them and not a manageable version. The first one is that being the mate of an alpha king makes you a target. Anyone who wants to move against me has a direct line to do it through you. And from the moment I understood what you were to me, I understood that every person who wanted something from me or wanted me weakened would look at you as the fastest way to get there. I did not know how to protect you without keeping everyone, including you, from understanding how much you mattered. I thought if I could keep the depth of it from being visible, I could keep you safer. The second one is that I did not know what to do with how I felt about you. I had never felt anything like it, and it did not behave the way things I could manage behaved. I was afraid of it. I was afraid that if I let myself be near you the way I wanted to be near you, I would not be able to function in the spaces where I needed to function. Because you undid me in a way that nothing else did, and I did not know how to hold both things at the same time. The third one is that I would burn all of it down for you. The kingdom, the throne, everything I have spent my entire life building and maintaining. If it came to that choice, I would choose you, and I knew it from the beginning. And I was terrified of what my enemies would do with that knowledge if they ever had it. So I hid it. I hid it from everyone, including you. And what I did not understand was that hiding it from you was the thing that cost us everything.
The garden is quiet around them. Naomi looks at him for a long time. She had come onto this walk prepared to hear an explanation. She had not been prepared to hear that, not the full shape of it. She had spent 5 years believing she was not wanted, and what she had just been told was that she was wanted so completely it had frightened an alpha king into silence. And she did not know yet what to do with the distance between those two versions of the story. She is quiet for a moment, absorbing what he has told her. Then something else occurs to her.
You searched for me for 5 years, before you knew any of this, before Uncle Asar told you what he found. What were you hoping to accomplish? What did you think would happen if you found me?
Kalen huffs something close to a laugh, low and without much humor in it. He looks out at the grounds rather than at her.
For a long time, I told myself I only wanted to know you were safe. That was the answer I gave my uncle. That was the answer I gave myself at 2 in the morning when I couldn't sleep. It was a lie, a convenient one. I knew it was a lie every time I said it.
What was the truth then?
The truth is, I never once stopped hoping you'd come back to me. Not to the throne, not to the alliance, to me. I told myself that hope was smaller than it actually was because the size of it scared me.
Neither of them speaks for a moment. The distance between them has not changed, but it feels smaller. She had expected some careful, managed version of the truth that kept things at a distance. He had given her the unmanaged version instead, and she was not entirely ready for it. Naomi looks away first, a small, almost helpless sound escaping her. The kind that comes out when someone says the thing you were hoping and dreading they'd say.
You could have just said that 5 years ago.
I know that now.
Naomi is quiet for a moment. She looks out at the same dark grounds he had been looking at, her voice dropping lower, almost like she is testing whether she can say it out loud.
I would have come back. If I had known you cared enough to look for me like that, I want you to know that.
Kaylin goes very still beside her. Whatever he expected her to say, it was not that. 5 years. That was the whole distance between them, contained in one sentence she had just handed him without ceremony. He was not sure what to do with the weight of it. Naomi glances at him, then away again, almost as if she regrets having said it so plainly.
That's not blame. I'm just telling you.
I know.
They begin walking again slowly, side by side.
Lyora knew?
I believe so. I was not as careful as I thought I was, and she was paying attention to things other people were not looking for.
She did not just want influence or a political position. She wanted you. She still wants you.
Yes.
Something moves through Naomi that she was not expecting. It is not thought through before it arrives. It is immediate and warm and territorial in a way she is not going to examine aloud, but cannot entirely contain either. She looks away from him briefly, down the path ahead. That was not a response she had anticipated having. She had suspected Leora's ambitions in an intellectual sense for days now. Hearing it confirmed plainly as wanting him specifically produced something different, something her wolf had an opinion about before the rest of her could weigh in. And she was going to need a moment to put that back where it belonged before she said anything else. Kayla notices. He does not comment on it, but the corner of his expression shifts in a way that is not quite a smile. He had noticed. She could tell he had noticed it, and she was not going to dignify that with a response. They walk on.
I want to tell you something about the night before the ceremony. I have been carrying it for a long time, and I think it belongs in this conversation.
Tell me.
Naomi stops walking. She looks out at the grounds for a moment before she turns to him.
That night was the first time I felt safe with you. Not comfortable, not managed, not tolerated. Safe. You looked at me like I was the only thing in the world that mattered, and I had been waiting for that look since the day we met, and I did not know until I saw it how much I had needed it. I thought I finally understood who you actually were, underneath everything. And I thought that the walls coming down meant they were going to stay down. I thought that was the beginning of something. And then I woke up, and you looked at me, and what I saw on your face was horror. And I understood in that moment that the night had been a mistake to you, that the man I had seen, that had loved me so completely, was not someone you were going to let me have, and that I had been foolish enough to believe, after one night, that things were different than they were.
Kalen's expression has changed entirely. He looks like a man who has just understood something he cannot undo. He had known the morning had damaged something. He had not known what she had seen on his face. He had been so consumed by his own failure that it had not occurred to him that she was watching him, reading him, and building something permanent out of what she saw. He steps closer to her, not reaching for her, just reducing the distance.
I was not horrified at you. I need you to hear that clearly. I have never, not for one moment in my life, felt anything close to horror when I looked at you.
Then what was it?
Horrified at myself. I had not waited for the ceremony the way I intended. I not only dishonored you, I had cracked open in front of you, which meant you had seen exactly how much you unmade me, and I was furious at myself for all those things. I did not realize you could see that.
Naomi absorbs that. The night air is very still around them. 5 years. She had built 5 years on what she read in his face that morning, and what she had read was not the truth of it. What she took for horror had been self-recrimination. She had seen rejection, and it had been a man who was furious at himself for not being able to hide how much he felt. She had walked away from an altar into a border territory, had 2 children, and spent every morning of 5 years settling when what had happened that night was that he had been unable to contain what he felt about her long enough to make it to the ceremony. She turns away from him for a moment, not in anger, just needing to face a different direction while she holds what she has just been given.
I was not fine after I left. I built something real and I do not regret the children and I do not regret who I became out there, but I was not fine. Not for a long time.
Neither was I.
They stand like that for a moment. 2 people who have just said the truest things they have ever said to each other. She had not known until she said it how much she had needed him to know that. Not so he would feel guilty, because it was true, and she had been carrying it alone, and he was the only person it belonged to. And putting it in his hands, rather than carrying it further, felt like setting something down she had not realized she was still holding. After a moment, Naomi turns to look at him. He is already looking at her. She was going to need time with everything he had told her. She was going to need to sit with all of it and let it rearrange what she had believed. But standing here with him and all the true things between them finally spoken instead of buried underneath everything else, she understood that the rearranging had already begun. She turns back toward the castle. He falls into step beside her.
Thank you for telling me.
Thank you for asking.
They walk in silence for a moment. Then she stops just before the door. She does not turn around fully, only half toward him.
Kalon, you unmade me too.
Kaylin stood there for a long time. She had said it like it cost her something to say it, and like she needed to say it anyway.